Hi everybody, this is Paul Keeley from Born in the Cloud. Welcome to this short video of Azure Identity Protection. The service name, Azure Identity Protection, it exists in Azure. It's a cloud-based resource for protecting cloud-based resources. If you are following this as part of the Cloud at the Sea Level book, this video is going to show you how we can identify if our users are at risk, how we can use machine learning to automatically apply enhanced protection to users who are at risk. And we're going to have a little walk through the console and a little demo so you can see how the application works. From Azure, I'm just going to go into Azure AD Identity Protection. I highlight it. As is typical to these services, it opens on its overview dashboard. And in its overview dashboard, you can just see that I have 0 users at risk. I have a number of risk events, and I have 3 vulnerabilities. Okay, so let's just explain how these work. So the users at risk is Microsoft has a way of going onto the dark web, going into places where accounts are for sale. We don't know exactly what the details are, but they have a process of, for example, when Yahoo got hacked and they said it was 500 million and then 1 billion email addresses and username and password combinations were discovered. Microsoft has a way of getting in to find these lists on the internet and then cross-reference Azure AD accounts to these lists to see if it can find people at risk. So it's possible that when you implement this, that you could actually find some of your end users that have their identities currently for sale right now. We have a number of risk events, and in the risk events, you can see here that I have sign-ins from anonymous IPs and sign-ins from unfamiliar locations. And if I highlight the unfamiliar locations just to give you an idea. So here's sign-ins for me in Romania, which I've never been to, in Austria, which I've never been to, in Dublin, Ireland, that was Christmas, I was at home, Glasgow, I've never been to, Seychelles, I've never been to, and Florida, I was at. So there's only 2 logins there that were actually valid, Dublin and Florida. All the rest were unfamiliar locations. And essentially what happened was, or what it would look like is, if I take my laptop and I'm working from home and Azure, the intelligence security graph sees my user account, sees my device, sees my IP and says, okay, this is normal behavior for Paul. And then when I would go to somewhere like Florida, it would say, hey, I don't know about you being here. Can you prove that this is you? And it would just go and allow me to put in, for example, an MFA. And then it shows me vulnerabilities in the environment. So I have 15 users that haven't registered for MFA. I have too many administrators in privileged roles and too many global admins. So it gives me information, but it's somewhat passive. And so there's 3 things that we can do. So first of all, one of the key components of this is it's going to challenge people for MFA if it doesn't like the conditions that it sees on the user. So I've asked all users to register for MFA. I have a user at risk policy. So if it finds that any of my users are for sale on the internet, it will go and say, hey, look, can you give a password change? So if the risk is high, so user is for sale on the internet, will you please ask those users to reset their password straight away? And then the one that we're going to demo is the sign-in risk policy. So this applies to all users. The sign-in risk is medium or above. And then it will say, what am I going to do? So if you try and log in with a medium or above security risk, I'm going to allow you access, but I'm going to require MFA. Okay, So, and then it will show me the number of sign-ins impacted. And out of the last 237 logins, it has challenged 7. So you can see, like, 230 logins came in fine, and I wasn't asked for MFA. So let's just have a little look at what. So I'm just going to go to myapps.microsoft.com. It's going to ask me to log in. It's going to look for my account. I'm going to say it's a work account. It's doing the home realm verification, sees the born in the cloud stuff. And I log in and I get brought straight to myapps.microsoft.com, and I can see my apps, and there was no authentication. There was no MFA. Okay. I'm going to repeat the process with Tor. So Tor obviously is an anonymous browser, and so it's not going to give any of my details to Azure AD when I try and authenticate. So I'm going to, myapps.microsoft.com, same as the last time. I guess the thing to point out is that it's going France, Germany, Sweden, and then to the internet. So I say work or school account. It just looks exactly like the last one. I'm able to home realm. And when I put in my password, it says, hey, look, there's something a little bit off right now. And you've signed in from an anonymous location. So could you please MFA for us? So I just hit next. It's just going to send a text to my phone. 677444. 677444. And I hit sign in. And once again, I'm going to get access to my applications, but you see the superpower. Like, this is just so amazing. Here's the power of Azure information, identity protection kicking in, whereby, the key thing is with this tool is that we don't want security to apply all the time. We want security to apply some of the time. And the some of the time is please provide security when the conditions don't look normal. One of the nice features of this product is that it sends me a weekly digest. And so here's a typical mail that I will get. I will have users with anonymous logins 0, self-service group activities 0, and applications used 8. And I'm able to get a really nice understanding of what's happening in my environment. Thanks very much for watching this short video on Azure Identity Protection. Tune in for the next video coming next.